Hello and good evening, and thanks for staying with us on TVXYZ. Many of you may be wondering where Eric has been. I had been on a short break. I am back, but on a new program. And I'm sure, as you may have seen from the promotions we run, this is Ideas Exchange. We are thinking about Ghana. Ghana is 64 years, and many people will say we have come far, looking at what you may consider as some pace in terms of development. But 64 years and how far we have gone, some will say it's not too far. I remember in the 80s when I was a student, the rhetoric at that time was that Ghana's pace of development had been staggered because of the various military regimes or the coups we experienced around that time. And so many of us realized that the blame was on what stopped the process. And so after several years of experimenting, we saw the birth of the Fourth Republican Constitution, what we call the 1992 Constitution. And so at that time, many people had hopes. We all thought that this would be the good path we want to chart. And of course, we've heard a lot of commendations from the UN, from many Western countries that, look, Ghana is a beacon of democracy. But from where you sit, do you think that since 1992 we have done that much to improve on our lives? No. We are more than a divided nation, so polarized, made up of people with all kinds of ideas, but we never have all hands on deck because things seem to have gone wrong. And so we keep on assuming that we are working for Ghana, but that is not. A lot of things appear to be wrong with our own laws embedded in the 1992 Constitution, which is supposed to keep us running. And as they say, a fish rots from the head. And so today on Ideas Exchange, I want us to do something very interesting, an exercise. We want to look at something in the 1992 Constitution and what appears to be what we all see as the head of Ghana. And that head of Ghana, if you don't know, I'll share with you, is called the Council of State. We want to see whether the Council of State, the wisdom reposed in all the individuals, today we will call them the 24 wise men. And of course, 24 today, but yesterday they existed. Over the years, have we seen any action that suggests that if all of us are failing, there is a father somewhere which is showing us what to do for our country? Today, our topic is Ghana, our Council of State, and our dream. I want to do this conversation with an old man, but very young. He has seen it all. He's 82 years. You won't believe it, 82 years, but he doesn't sound like that. His name is Captain Retired Joel Kwame. So I'm going to do this conversation with him. Joel.
Yes.
Captain. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I remember that the last time I think I saw you was about 19 years ago,
Yes.
isn't it?
In Takoradi.
In Takoradi.
Yes.
And it was almost like the same program.
Yes. Well, we are going round in circles.
We are going round in circles.
So when you are going round in circles, you come and meet.
You come and meet. And so we are.
Yeah.
You are welcome to TVXYZ.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be here. And hello to your viewers and hello to your staff. Radio XYZ has always been my home. I've been on, Radio XYZ now.
And now TVXYZ,
yes.
right.
So I'm home.
Now, I want to ask you a very important question. 82 years means you are older than Ghana.
Yes.
And so you saw the enthusiasm among Ghanaians before we gained independence.
Yes.
You saw it all after the overthrow of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and the military regimes.
Yes.
And you've seen the various constitutions we have put together, and then the Rawlings factor also passed through in 1992. And all of us had hopes. When you sit and reflect 82 years, haven't seen it all, when you are going to sleep, what goes through your mind?
Thank you, Eric. You know, my hobby is Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the looting. I saw what happened during the looting. Accra was on fire when Ni Kwabena Boni, the Alata Manche, declared boycotts of the Asian traders, the Chandirams, the Chilarams, and co. And the burning of the thing, and the song that they were singing those days, UTC Mama Wahi Kache no Wabahi, UTC Mama Wahi Kache no Wabahi. That led finally to the arrest of Kwame Nkrumah, and then finally the elections, the CPP came into power, and people who were in prison came out, and those who were, the CPP came into power, and 1957, the Declaration of Independence, and the nostalgic feeling that I have, and the place was jam-packed. And when Kwame Nkrumah finally declared, Ghana, your beloved nation, is free forever. I mean, if you were there, the efforts would be dati kuyat. The hopes were high. The expectations were high. Kwame Nkrumah came, started very well. If anybody says Kwame Nkrumah was not the founder of this country, it's a problem for a person like me, because we were just, in the northern was called the Northern Territories. We have the Trans-Volta, across the Volta. You know, we have the coast, the Gold Coast, Shikaputa, Sikampuano. Yes. So you can see the feeling that we, and then the monies that we're supposed to have. He came out, he finally did a lot of, Akosombo. The roads, the Temamoto Way, and all these things.
So many people agree that Nkrumah perhaps had a vision which rode on the back of the support from Ghanaians who were so enthusiastic.
Yes, I'm laying a foundation for something.
Good.
The foundation is that it started very well. But from 64, those who are as old as me now will agree with me. Things have changed. Kwame Nkrumah had changed. Yes, there were there were bombs and all sorts of things. Agreed, but his own ministers were scared when he finally decided to go to Hanoi for the peace, this thing. And then the coup took place. I personally don't agree with people who say that the coup started the growth of this country. Because, you see, a nation is like a human being. You go through all sorts of challenges finally before you blow up. So let us not say that, because when those were his ministers with him, they ran back to this place to castigate Kwame Nkrumah. That tells you something. People who went to the streets to jubilate about the 66 coup, nobody went and forced anybody to the streets. So I personally don't agree with people who say that it was the coup that started our development. It's not. So we will now come to the reason why we are where we are now.
And that is why you are in the studio, because the question actually was, so you saw it at the beginning.
Yes.
And perhaps if this was the end, you have seen it as we speak today.
Yes.
What do you think appears to be getting wrong that must be fixed?
Exactly. Now, you made a statement in your introductory this thing to say that we are touted as perhaps the beacon of democracy. But to me, who has been in this country from its inception as a nation up to this moment, what can I say? What kind of democracy are we really practicing? We are practicing a democracy of government of the party, by the party, and for the party.
What does it mean?
Right. It means that you have a group of people who have come together with a certain ideology and say, we have a party, so we want to take control of the state and run it according to what we want to do, not according to what the people of Ghana want. This is the difference. So a party comes into power and it says, it comes with its manifesto and says, this is what I want to do. And we accept it lock, stock, and barrel. So what do you have? The party comes into power and say, this is what I want to do for 4 years. Year one, this is what I will do. Year two, this is what. Now it's not even written down. So that you can hold them accountable to say, you said year one you will do this, you haven't done it. The media, which is the fourth estate of the realm, is the one that should hold the government in power in check and say, you said year one you will do this. So before the president comes to give a State of Nation address, he should address the things that he said he will do in year one.
Right, Captain. So we'll break it down in bits.
Yes.
So the preamble is that it's a basket full of problems we want to tackle.
Yes.
But today we want to look at one key area,
okay,
which is the Council of State.
Right.
So the assumption is that all of us appear to be getting it wrong along the line.
Yes.
And so we have a group that is supposed to be whipping us or advising the president or ensuring that all key institutions or arms of government which may be doing wrong things will get somebody who have that expertise to at least show them the right thing to do.
But you see, go on.
Now, so I've seen that you have gone through the constitutional in depth.
Yes.
I've seen documents that make reference to what the framers of the 1992 Constitution, for example, would have recommended as the ideal for the composition of the Council of State. Now, in your opening remarks, as we narrow in on the subject for today, what do you think bothers
me,
you, and of course any Ghanaian who is worried?
All right. The little I learned about governments was that governments come, governments go, but the state is there forever. So in our constitution or in this nation, we as a people, do we have a state? We have state institutions.
And we don't have government institutions?
We have government institutions, we have state institutions. Governments come and run the affairs of the state.
Break it down.
What I mean is that a group of people are voted into power with a head. For the purposes of this discussion, we say with a president. That president will form his cabinet to govern the affairs of the state. So if that president is going wrong, I'm not talking about this president, please. I'm talking about the way
you are speaking about Ghana and our problems that we are preparing solutions to fix.
So that president has been given a mandate of 4 years. If he does well and the people of this country say you have done well, we will give you another 4 years. You do a 2-term. 8 years. That's the end. You are finished. Now that government is coming to run the affairs of the state. In our constitution, in the Council of States, and I said a state is there forever. But you see, the term of office of member of the Council of State shall end with that of the president unless the member dies, resigns, or is removed. It means that you come with the president and you go with the president.
What is wrong with that?
Then I told you the state is there forever. The government, the president can go. But those who are members of the Council of State, and these members are eminent people in this country. If you are eminent enough and wise enough to advise the president today, why wouldn't you be wise enough for the next president who come into office? That's number one. And number two, who checks the president? This is only an advisory body. It means that their presence is as useful as their absence. Check all the challenges or things that we say against any government in this country, whether it's NDC, whether it's NPP, whether it's CPP, they are all the same. The complaints are the same. Why? Because the party is practicing government of the party, by the party, and for the party. You can criticize me, you can say whatever you did, but I'll do what I like.
Now, I want to refer you to a few things.
Yes.
Because in your submission, when I was having a discussion with you prior to this conversation, yes, I got the impression that the composition or the constitution of the Council of State was wrong from the start.
Yes.
I dug some information, and this is an IEA document.
Exactly.
In this document, which was actually authored by Professor Michael Quay,
yes,
and for those who may want to just follow, if you want to just check facts, this is an IEA document, a newsletter titled Addressing the Imbalance of Power Between the Arms of Government, a Search for Countervailing Authority. And it's a publication by the Institute of Economic Affairs, volume 19, number 5, that's September-October 2013 edition.
Yes.
Now, the framers of the 1992 Constitution, this is actually what they put there. They were saying that, in fact, I will share that one with you on the screen later.
Yes.
But for my producers, if you can bear with me, let me just read from what I have here, because that's actually not available now, right, for sharing on the screen. In that publication, Professor Michael Quay made reference to the committee of experts who drafted the Constitution. Again, they wanted all former presidents, if they are not dead,
exactly, to
be members of the Council of State.
Perfect.
Those who were thinking about the Constitution had reason for that. You are as old as Ghana, and so we'll be digging into that.
Yes.
Now let's look at the others that they recommended originally. We have every former Chief Justice, every former Chief of Defense Staff or General Officer commanding the Ghana Armed Forces, every former Inspector General of Police, every former governor of the Bank of Ghana, every former speaker or deputy, every former majority and minority leader of parliament, every former auditor general, TUC secretary general, 10 chiefs, and at that time we had 10 regions, so 10 chiefs from regional house of chiefs, and then 10 women nominated by regional queen mothers and representatives of identified civil society groups. Now, we can now share with you the composition of the Council of State today, so that we'll look at the correlation, and then I can ask you the follow-up question.
Okay.
Now, if you check from the screen, it says that a former Chief Justice of Ghana, one, not all of them, a former Chief of Defense Staff, a former Inspector General of Police, President of the National House of Chiefs, and then a representation, and this will be elected from each of the 16 regions, and the President of Ghana will appoint 11 members. So today, as we speak, the composition of the membership of the Council of State is what we have. And I've read to you what the original framers of the Constitution put forward. Now, if you look at what was proposed, and I understand that Rawlings was against it because he didn't want Dr. Hillel Limann to be a member of the Council of State as was going to be captured in the 1992 Constitution, because obviously he overthrew him, and so Limann cannot be there advising him. If you compare the two, would you say this is the reason why our Council of State do not have that public confidence reposed in them?
Exactly. So you see, the original the framers of the Constitution, the original list that you mentioned, that is what ought to be. And I would just add that I wish the number could be increased to 30. Then when it is 30, that 30 will form like, and it should not be an advisory body. All right? That group, Council of State, should be responsible for our state institutions. One, the armed forces, the security services, and other state institutions. Because, you see, when you go back to Kwame Nkrumah, one of the complaints against Kwame Nkrumah that led to the 66 coup was that use of capricious power. So the idea was the Council of State to check that capricious use of power. So if there is a president who will come and flout certain aspects of the constitution with impunity, who is there to tell him, Master, you cannot do that? If there are former heads of state in the Council of State who have the teeth to bite, they say, sit down. When they say jump, you ask how high, because they've been there before. They know the pitfalls. So when they tell you, you cannot do this because you are sending the country into the abyss, you have to listen to them.
Was it not a recipe for confusion? Because we now understand that political party democracy in our part of the world has degenerated into do me, I do you, let me undermine you and have the opportunity to govern, and not necessarily patriotism that is driving action and the vision we have towards building a nation.
You see, this is a reason I told you the democracy we are practicing is government of the party, by the party, and for the party, and that leads to winner takes all. Do you see? Winner takes all. When I come into power, what I have said in my manifesto, in fact, we should be talking about the manifesto. That is the key that can correct the imbalances that we have now. That the capricious use of power will stop. Because if it is time for an election, and we will talk about the National Development Planning Commission. I've been talking about this thing for the past 45 years. Nobody is listening. And I'm saying that when it's coming to an election time, the parties must troop to the National Development Planning Commission. That ought to be properly reconstituted and say, what is the national plan for the next 4 years? So you go and pick up the plan, which is the National Manifesto, which the people have prepared, and then the preparation of that 4-year national manifesto would have been done by the National Development Planning Commission by starting the planning from the community level, where you have community plans, dovetail into district plans, dovetail into regional plans, then into the national plan. So you have community projects, you have district projects, you have a regional project, then you have national projects. We don't have this. But if you have this, if Party A will look at it, because the National Development Planning Commission has the authority to say that, listen, you cannot borrow to support your budget. You cannot, if you for year 1, quarter 1, this is what you do. Year 1, quarter 1, quarter 2, this is what you do for the next 4 years. So you, the media, as the fourth estate of the realm, the time will now come for you to check at the party that is in power. So the manifesto of every power become a social contract between the people of this country and them. So if it's not going according to within the ambit of the law, for instance, we have a lot of abandoned projects in this country. Why? Because the party comes and says that project that the former government started, I'm not interested in.
Are you suggesting, because in our constitution, and if you look at our governance structure, we have checks and balances, there are recommendations. The constitution actually explicitly says that, look, a project that's started is supposed to be in continuum. So a government comes and is mandated to do it.
Is it being done? No. And that's why I'm saying that if the government, because the other day I listened to somebody who was justifying why certain projects are abandoned. He said, why am I going to get money to do that? It's not part of our project. But if the national manifesto says that year one, you cannot do any new projects until these 5% of these projects, which are in every district, you must do it.
We'll go into that, Captain. My guest in the studio is Captain Joel Sow, an 82-year-old man who is helping us to appreciate what we need to do to change things we appreciate and understand today as wrong. We spoke to a group of Ghanaians for their views on the Council of State and whether they think that if all of us are wrong, our Council of State over the years are actually functional and must exist, or perhaps it should be scrapped. Maybe, as Captain Sow is saying, must be reviewed in terms of the composition with reference to the original recommendation by the framers of the Constitution. We'll listen to those group of Ghanaians and take a short break after that. When we come back, we'll dig into our conversation for this evening.
It's a waste of our resources. I don't know what they do, advising the president or what. It's not bind on the president to take the advice. It's where he can choose to act on what they say or reject it, and nobody can question the president. So why do we still keep these bogus institutions? We are just wasting the resources of the taxpayer.
I think we have to maintain them because they are the immediate, eminent people who used to advise the president on matters concerning the country. That's my take.
Even with the help of the Council of State, we are not seeing anything. We are not seeing, I'm not seeing any changes in the country. So that is my opinion.
From the beginning, they will tell her, oh, when they come, they'll do this, they'll do that. By the end of the day, when we vote them into power, they don't do it. We don't see it at all. It seems like they only do what they feel like doing. They don't listen to what we say. So we really beg the Council of State to push more further, to speak to the president or to pressure him, come to our aid and help us.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Microfinance, growing with you.
Welcome back. This is TVXYZ. The program is Ideas Exchange. This is the maiden edition. It will come to you every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. This evening, my studio guest is Captain Joel Sow, pardon me, I'm used to saying morning. Actually, it's an evening program, so mofanche me. Now, I want us to go to another leg of this conversation. We are looking at Ghana, our Council of State, our dream. Our dream is to see a developed country. I remember many people have always said that we gained independence with Malaysia at the same time, 1957. The two countries were colonized by Britain. At the time we gained independence, our GDP rate was higher than that of Malaysia. Oil palm, for example, Malaysia didn't have. They came to Ghana and then we supported them. Oil palm is one of the backbones of Malaysia. About 35% of their revenue is generated from oil palm. And of course, today when we talk about Malaysia, Ghana is nowhere to come. And of course, the reason has been because we have refused to think or use what we know as brains to work together in the interest of the state. And our conversation is that we have a head. If that head is rotten, then that head cannot actually work on the body called Ghana. If that head is rotten and can be fixed, then let us have a conversation on what will fit into a new Council of State composition that will be bold enough, empowered to speak to the truth and at least whip our presidents, if that is the best they can do, to line. That's what we are doing today. So we want to look at the tenure of office of our members of the Council of State. And I'll share that with you on the screen. It says, and this is Article 89.1 to Article 89.456 of the Constitution. 5 says, a member of the Council of State shall hold office until the end of term of the office of the President, unless that member resigns by writing signed by him and addressed to the President, or becomes permanently incapacitated, and the appointment of a member of the Council of State may be terminated by the President on grounds of stated misbehavior or inability to perform his functions arising from infirmity of body or mind, and with the prior approval of Parliament. Now, we did sampling, and a number of people we spoke to said they don't think the council over the years has lived up to expectation, yet the state spent millions of cedis on their survival. Is there something that can be done to make it better?
Yeah, you see, I said the little I learned about governments is that governments come, governments go, but the state is there forever. So if the state is there forever, they become the custodian of the state institutions. They should become the protectors of the states and the institutions of states. If anybody has a problem with a government that has come, that has a tenure of 4 years and is gone, that state is the one we talk of directive principles of state. These are the people who are the lions that are protecting it, protecting all of us from capricious use of power, which led to the 1966 coup. Now, the president, as we have now, has 11 members, which he appoints. Can those 11 people look into his face and say, Master, you are wrong? It's impossible. So, what we should be doing is that the Council of State, they are eminent people who have been there before. They've worked through, they know the pitfalls, they know the challenges, they know the ups and downs, so they can look in the president's eye and say, Master,
but if you
cannot do it.
What we have now, we have the former Chief Justice.
Let me just land and say the tenure of office should be everlasting. So unless a member dies, then another member comes. And they are there, they don't owe any allegiance to any political power. So they are there because now these are people who have reached, they have become statesmen. so they can have the right and the moral authority according to the directive principles of state policy and say, Mr. President, you cannot spend more than this. You cannot borrow more than this. You cannot sack the chief of defense staff. You cannot sack the IGP. You cannot sack the immigration man. You cannot sack the prison head, because all these institutions of state will become part of the Council of State.
So you are proposing that if we want to have a country that can look at a collective interest, the Council of State as it is now is bogus. It must be reframed and given reconstituted yes. and given extra powers.
They must have a teeth to bite.
Now, because I wanted to intervene. A former Chief Justice,
yes,
a former Chief of Defense
exactly.
Staff, a former Inspector General of Police, and a President of the National House of Chiefs.
No,
they are not enough.
Leave the President of the National House of Chiefs, because I want to talk about the first people.
The first three.
Yeah, that's security there, right there for you.
Right.
You see, these people, they've been there. They know everything about security in this country. So if there is one issue...
Now, if you compare this, because what has been the tangent is that if I belong to CPP, NDC, yes. NPP,
yes.
and I become the president,
yes.
I am looking for, because the constitution as it is now is saying a former chief of defense staff, a former IGP,
no, you mean the present one.
As we speak,
yes.
they are going to pick a former IGP under the tenure of a government belonging to them at the time they were in power. This is different from from what the framers of the Constitution said, that every former Chief Justice,
yes.
every former Chief of Defense Staff, every former Inspector General of Police, every former Governor of the Bank of Ghana, every Speaker or Deputy. So now, what appears to be different from what the drafters of the Constitution said every, and this one says Now, when you spoke, I put down some words.
Yes.
I looked at the word sabotage.
Yes.
Patriotism.
Yes.
State interest.
Yes.
Collective good.
Yes.
And Ghana's future.
Yes.
Now, with your
what I'm saying, the two,
the submission you made earlier. Now,
yes.
if you look at the words I've carefully chosen.
Yes.
Do you think that if we had John Mahama in Akufo-Addo's government as a member of the Council of State, or let's say President Kufuor is there, yes. let's assume Rawlings is not there and Rawlings is there,
yes.
and then we have maybe Liman is not there,
yes.
and all of them are sitting at the head of a body called government with people sitting there to advise.
State, Council of State.
Council of State.
Yes.
How different would this look, looking at possible sabotage, possible patriotism, looking at national interest, if it is collective, yes. and so on and so forth?
You see, if all of them are there in Council of State, I'll tell you one thing. They are now above partisan politics. And amongst them, if they are discussing, they are no more using the lenses of NPP or NDC. They are using a national lens. They've all been CDSs before. They've all been head of states before. They know the pitfalls. They know the nuances. They know the challenges that any president goes through. When they brought it out, they bring it up as a collective. They are looking now as the interest of Ghana, not the interest of the party.
Some will say there may be no country in this world which has an advisory body like what we are talking about today, which may go with the drafters and the proposition they made.
You know something? We should begin to think outside the box. We should begin to look at Ghana, what is good for us. Look, you know, one of the challenges we have with our constitution, we went and pick up part of American, part of Britain. So we don't really know, a hybrid. So we don't know really what we are doing. That's why we have a... Let me just digress and ask you a question. Where is constituency? You see? Where is constituency? Constituencies come alive only when we are going to have elections. After election is dead. You see? We picked that from the Britain, but they have certain institutions that the constituency fit into. We don't, our structure is not like that. So we should begin to look at Ghana. You see, even our chiefs, the wisdom that is reposed in our chiefs, how are we using it for our democracy? So when you have a council of state and you have the chiefs in there, they are going to bring wisdom.
In the interest of the state.
In the interest of the state.
Just 2 days ago, I was going over and over again of the commentary by the Asantehene.
Yes.
When President Akufo-Addo visited the palace.
Yes.
And then he made reference to an action government had taken, which many saw as a political interest, a kind of decision they took, which was the way they were able to kick out how do you call it, Ibrahim Mahama from mining in the Nyinahene area.
That is the bauxite?
The bauxite. And in the wisdom of the Asantehene, if the president found it necessary to give the opportunity to a Ghanaian company, because the rhetoric at that time was that they were bringing the Chinese to do it most efficiently, they should look at another Ghanaian who has the capacity, because he has been doing this in other countries. And many people said that was wise talk. We had the Council of State there when all these things were happening. And we know that we have a cyclical issue where, so you do it to me today, when my party is in power tomorrow, I will do it to you. Now, could it have been different over the years? Because you made reference to abandoned projects.
Yes.
But we assume that the constitution, the laws we have in Ghana, the parliament, we have other arms of government collectively should be doing the thing, and therefore the Council of State shouldn't be thinking for you and I if we're young people.
You see, that bauxite, do you know really what is happening with the bauxite? The agreement with the Chinese?
We know a Ghanaian company, at least now on record, has been given the opportunity to exploit that mineral.
The last time I knew, there was an agreement that the Chinese were to mine for 100 years. Or you don't know about that?
That conversation, as we speak, we are not sure if the Chinese came in and are on the field working.
Because I had the opportunity, when I got that opportunity, I spoke to a very high governmental official. Because God spoke to me. I'm not lying. Where is the camera? I'm not lying. God spoke to me. And the question God asked, why have you people sold your birthright for a mess of pottage? Because at that time, the information that came was that they were to mine the bauxite for 100 years, and we were taking a certain amount of money for it. I need to be corrected. And I spoke to a government high official and said, this is what God spoke to me about. If after that they've changed the conversation, I don't know.
Now, Captain, let's leave that because...
No, I need to put that in the public domain.
As we sit here, I want to be very frank with you. I don't know much about that particular issue, and therefore it will be very funny if I try to conjecture.
No, I'm just saying that this came, God spoke to me about it. And if I'm lying, the senior government official, I have not asked his permission, otherwise I would have mentioned his name right here. And we met. He came and saw me at the airport. And I was traveling to the US. And he said, speak to me more about it. And I said, this is what came and this is what God spoke to me about.
Now,
so let's leave that one.
We have just about 50 minutes to wrap up. We have the functions of the members of the Council of State.
Yes.
And so those critiquing the existence of the Council of State, like we spoke to a cross-section of the public,
Yes.
may perhaps not appreciate what they are doing behind the scenes. Because most of the time, the assumption is that they are working behind the scenes. They don't need to rush and then tell Ghanaians what they are doing, but they believe that they are achieving results. Now, let's share the functions of the Council of State. One says, critique a bill if requested by the President, especially for possible amendment, shall consider and advise the President or any other authority in respect of any appointment prescribed by the Constitution. The Council of State may, upon request or on its own initiative, consider and make recommendations on any matter being considered or dealt with by the President, a Minister of State, Parliament, or any other authority established by the Constitution, except that the President, Minister of State, Parliament, or any other authority shall not be required to act in accordance with the recommendation made by the Council of State under this clause. The Council of State shall also meet, if requested by the President or Parliament, not less than 5 members of the Council of State. That the Council of State shall hold its meetings in camera, and it goes on and on and on. Do you find anything wrong, or at least it tells you that they have functions, and for which reason we pay them, we buy these luxury vehicles for them?
Do you know the Central Region?
I know very well.
There is something they normally say, Simpa Penyin.
Mentase.
Simpa Penyin. In British Parliament, say, kick him upstairs. Oh, you are a nice guy, you are wise. This is a big office for you. Sit there and advise me. I have a right to take your advice. I have a right not to take your advice. So all this is equal to zero. Nothing. A bill is already published. There is a controversy about the bill. So the Council of State, they look at it. So they say, Mr. President, we think that this bill is not in the interest of the people of Ghana. So I think it should be scrapped. He looks at it, bullshit. He puts it.
As in the point which says they may take it or leave it.
Exactly. So you bring it, I read it out. Thank you. I acknowledge receipt of your recommendations. And thank you very much for your effort. Then I put it in a...
Now, there are two things.
Yes?
There are two things.
Yes.
If you look at the composition of the members of the Council of State today,
yes,
I call them the wise men.
Yes.
And some...
And they are eminent people. They are...
So I'm driving at a question.
Yes.
Many Ghanaians respect you.
Yes.
You speak well.
Yes.
You are a reciprocity of in intelligence or knowledge. You've lived it all. Are you suggesting to me that because of the what goes around the composition or the constitution of the Council of State and the functions they have now, if you, Captain Joe Sowu,
yes,
was or is a member of Council of State today, your hands will be tied, and therefore you will be...
My hands will not be tied.
How different is it from... How different is it from the former IGP or the former Chief of Defense Staff, or perhaps who the President has elected? Because they could be you speaking to me here, and therefore we assume that they should be working.
Listen, the way the Constitution is framed, the way the job description that has been given them, okay, if they make a mistake, and I hope they will never make the mistake, and they say, I'm a member of the Council of State. If the President is going wrong, I will drive to the Flagstaff House as a member of the Council of State. If I discuss the matter with my other members and they want to lay by, I say, listen, we are here representing the state. All right? And we must do what is right. And nobody can tie my hands. I will walk into the office of the Flagstaff House and I look at the President in his face and I say...
Or hold a press conference.
I will hold any press
conference. Now, let me make a reference to you.
Yes.
Now, under the tenure of members prescribed by Article 89, you know the swear oath.
Yes.
And there's
I have a problem with that.
There's the element of diplomacy in the way they operate. So it says that the appointment of a member of the Council of State may be terminated by the President on the grounds of stated misbehavior.
Sure, which means that the President is even higher than the Council of State. And this is what I'm talking talking about it. The president should not be higher than the Council of State.
Okay, so we'll be taking a break. I want you to reflect. I made reference to Ghana and Malaysia, and I did a few comparisons. Just take your time and read what I'm about to put on the screens. Reflect on it and ask yourself, are we making sense? And would you join us tomorrow to exchange ideas and help to shape public policy? I believe that all of us need to speak now. Just listen. So I said the program is Ideas Exchange, and I'm sure as you read through some of the bullet points I put together, you'll be asking, so Ghana started dealing with palm oil or oil palm, whichever they call it, but I think it's oil palm, as far back as 1820. Malaysia was looking for oil palm in Ghana around the 60s. I'm talking about 1960, more than 100 years or close. And in less than 40, 50 years, they are the second largest producer of that produce. And they are making billions from it. And you would have checked from what I put out there that Ghana is struggling to grow its palm industry. That's so funny. Our land going waste. Yet we hear all kinds of rhetoric, promises, pledges, big talk. Kufu Ayose, a big English with nothing. Is it that our intellectuals are failing us or our politicians are failing us?
That question is a billion-dollar question.
Another topic.
This is a matter we will have to really debate it. If you say yes, it can be yes and it can be no. Yes, in the sense that what we are talking about here now, all right? I hope we are talking a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But will it be taken? If it is not taken, it is useless.
It will.
But if it is taken...
The reason why I believe it will is that there is some level of agitation for us to review our constitution.
Yes.
And I believe that if this is going to be part of the wisdom people may take out of what you have,
yes,
I believe we can also table it tomorrow,
yes,
if ideas are supposed to be put across for those who may perhaps have much more experience than us and understand your language, will factor them into what we may see tomorrow as a new constitution for this country.
But you see, when the present government came into power, they made a statement and I clapped. One district, one factory. Beautiful. There is a statement that says that if you build castles in the air, let it stay there. Now put foundation under it. Do you understand? Beautiful idea. It came to implementation and my heart sank. And you know, if somebody had thought it through and told the president that, Mr. President, this one district, one factory is an excellent idea. You see, we have oil in Ghana. I'm told that if you refine oil, the byproducts, you can get about 1,000 byproducts. So if our Tema oil refinery is not fit to refine our oil, the amount of money we have borrowed, if we are using it to import the machinery and the equipment that will refine our oil, the byproducts of about 1,000 and still counting would have given us more than 1 district, 3 factories. Simple, right there. Why didn't you do it? So your question of whether intellectuals are failed or not, I'm sure somebody would have brought the idea.
Okay, so now we have 5 minutes to wrap up on this conversation. It appears the time has run so fast. But this is Ideas Exchange, Wednesdays, 8 to 9 o'clock. And of course, next week, we may introduce an element where you can also join us to disagree with us or add on to the conversation. I'm in the studio with Captain Joel Sow. He's 82 years. Captain, if you were supposed to recommend, you've already suggested that the composition of the Council of State must be looked at. You have said that their tenure should not go with the president of the day, but that is on condition that the composition is going to give us the assurance that they are going to think Ghana and not their parochial interest.
Right.
What else would you recommend? I want you to speak to Ghanaians, speak to the president, speak to members of the Council of State. Your camera is there.
Yeah. Your Excellency, it is for very good reason that we address you as Your Excellency, because you represent all that is excellent in each and every one of us. Those who voted for you, those who did not vote for you, they all address you as Your Excellency. So you are the epitome of all that is good and excellent in all of us. Please, where you are, very soon you will fade out as a president. But begin to love this country as you want. Let God be your guide. Self-adulation and people coming to say you are good and all that, don't take it. Ask yourself, God, how do you look at me? How have I looked or served this nation and serve you? Because there are so many things that you can do and change so that you can have God on your side. There are a lot of things about security matters that are going on. People being killed that are around. Your IGP, Dampare, is doing a good job. People, Christians especially, Christians especially, we pray for you because the Bible enjoins us to pray for governing authorities. Look at the Council of State again. And the best thing, and one of the best things you can do as a president is to recommend that Council of State must be there forever. 30 people constituting the Council of State. All the original, look at the original list. And when you do this, you would have left footprints on the sands of time. May God be with you. May the Holy Spirit guide you. That at the end of your tenure, you can look at yourself and say, I've served God, I've served my country, I've served my family, and I've served myself. Stay blessed.
That is Captain Joel. Is it Kwame?
Kwame. M.I.
Komivi. So I knew this man more than 19 years ago, and we did these kinds of conversations. And I know that many people would wish that I bring him up again. Of course, this conversation has not rested. And if the producers will permit, subsequently, Captain Joel Sow will be with us in the studio again. My name is Eric Ahianyo, and I believe that you have enjoyed our program. Next week, Wednesday, 8 o'clock, join us again for Ideas Exchange. Tomorrow, I believe that you have the opportunity to watch a repeat of this program. We'll share the times with you. Goodbye for now.